What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, along with Tyler Stafford and Tyler. Fireworks
Mhm.
last night in Southern California. Benches cleared. Um, haven't seen the Astros have that feisty of an interaction. And look, I don't know much about Zach Neto. I don't know much about Christian Moore, who got in the middle of the fray. But I'm going to say one thing: if there's one dude in the Astros clubhouse and I'm not crossing in a dark alley, it's Hunter Brown, who appeared pretty peeved during that whole interaction last night.
Yeah, that is not the guy that I would want to pick a fight with. Not for anything, but he also throws 100 miles an hour. So I don't know that in general I'd like to make him angry when it is his job to throw really hard. But I mean, we've seen it already. Look, the dude's standing on the plate. Like if you the screenshot of him getting hit, his elbow is in the strike zone. Uh, I mean, when I get hurt, I also react in a fiery manner. So I get that. I would imagine once his head was a little more calm, he would recognize, like, oh, he wasn't throwing at me. He was trying to throw a strike, and my hand was in the way. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was wild. But I mean, good for Hunter. Just hopping up there, scaring people. Honestly, good for Christian Moore playing in his first ever home game, just running out there with the boys, ready to take on everybody. So, uh, and also, there's not a lot of good things I can say about the umpiring last night, other than good on them for not like throwing anybody out. Like, okay, let's calm down, everybody, get back to where you're going. But that is the nicest thing that I can say about the umpiring last night. I'm not one to normally nitpick strike zones, but good lord, that was a an abstract painting of a strike zone last night.
Yeah, John Libka had a rough one behind the plate. I think Brian Abreu struck a guy out on like five strikes in the
Yeah,
eighth inning. But I think he was bad both ways. The Angels felt the wrath of him as well when they were
I don't
pitching.
think so. I think it was pretty. I mean, I know that this was not intentional. I am not uh, uh, insinuating anything there, but I do think it skewed very heavy towards the A's. I'll see if I can pull that up. But excuse me, the Angels, not the A's. But
Same thing. Same
yeah,
thing at this
I
point.
mean, come on, whatever. They're both not playing in the cities that everyone thinks they're in. Oakland or Los Angeles. Neither of them actually play in those cities. So, yeah, same thing. But yeah, it was bad. And I don't know if you were listening to the broadcast, but I don't think I've ever heard Blum and Callis like have so much open disdain for an umpire. At one point, I think it was Blum, but at one point, Blum was like, "I hope that his family is not watching this right now because this is rough." I was like, "Geez, man."
Yeah, they got into so they had a getaway day night game in Sacramento on Thursday. They didn't get to Anaheim, I don't think, until 2:30 in the morning Friday. So I bet some fuses were short as well. I'm sure that had
Mhm.
something to do with it. Everyone was a little agitated and tired, and even the broadcasters. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they didn't have a ton of patience for poor performance. But yeah, the benches clearing thing, like it looked very much like Zach Neto was just mad that he got hit, and I can't blame him for that in a vacuum. Like, I would not enjoy getting hit by something that is being thrown 95 miles an hour. He's already missed time this year for different injuries. Like, I get his emotional in the moment reaction, but also don't be surprised when you do that and then Hunter Brown takes exception, because Hunter Brown is a very nice young man, very well soft spoken. Like, is not, if you talk to him any of the 4 days he's not pitching, you would not think this is a guy that's going to seek out harm or physical violence, things like that. When he's pitching, he's kind of one of those guys that just sees red all the time, just gets real angry, gets real fired up, and I think that's what you saw there. And I think you said it right, that it was handled the right way. Like, no, there didn't need to be warnings. There didn't need to, like, Trout got hit later in the game. Like, there didn't have to be like warnings have been like, none of this was intentional. It was just two young-ish players. Like, Hunter Brown's still a young player. He's got 2 full seasons in the big leagues. Zach Neto, this is his 2nd full year in the big leagues.
Oh, it threw me off. At one point, Blum was like, a young hitter
I heard
going
him
after
say
a
that.
veteran pitcher. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
heard him.
I hear you, but
Yeah, I heard Blummer say that, and I was like, that's not what I would go with. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, and you did see it too when those guys went out. When everyone went out there, like, the veterans were kind of the ones like, all right, come on, let's take the kids back. Come on, like, let's not get riled up. And you even saw, like, Joe Espada was like, if you watch the it's not even a brawl. If you watch The Gathering, Joe Espada was just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, all right, we got him. He's fine. We'll calm him down. But
yeah,
all's well that ends well. The Astros won the game. I believe stranded 11 Angels and left and forced them into 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They're just finding ways to win, which is what you can ask for. And they're doing it amid a stretch of divisional opponents, which we thought it would be pertinent now, about halfway through the season, to size up the American League West and to see who are maybe the biggest challengers. Who do the Astros really have to worry about across the final 4 months of the season? So we're recording this on Saturday. They will enter tonight's game against the Angels with a 73.3% chance to win the American League West, according to Fangraphs. They are up 5 games in the division. The Mariners are in 2nd place. The Rangers are in 3rd. They're 7 back, and the Angels are 7.5 back in 4th. And then the Sacramento Athletics are very, very far back. I don't think we're going to touch on them much in this one. Tyler, before we get team by team here, who do you think is the Astros' biggest threat in the American League West?
I mean, I guess the Mariners, right? They have some guys who have been injured. They're the closest team. They're the team that I would have thought, would have had the best chance coming into the year. The sneaky pick is the Rangers because they have so many guys way underperforming their, potential. I mean, Corey Seager and Marcus Semien are both hitting like 230. They're not going to do that for a whole year. But they're 7 out already. I know it's still early. I'm sure you don't get this nearly as much as I do, but as a vocal watcher of baseball, I get a lot of texts from people who just kind of like check in every once in a while. And anytime someone asks me about, oh, they're 4 games back, or they got this or whatever, my default answer is I don't look at the standings until July, and I don't care about them until August. So June 21st seems like a good time for us to just start to peek at the standings. But I think those are the only 2 real threats. I could certainly see the Rangers going on like a, 21-6 run at some point in a month and making up some ground. I don't think the Mariners have quite the same firepower, but I think their floor is a lot higher than what the Rangers could be. I don't know. What about you? You still love the Athletics? You
I'm
loser.
a huge Lawrence
Somebody find the clip from one of our first podcasts where Chandler's like, "Watch out, the A's are really good."
I mean, it's the same team that they had last year.
I don't want to hear it.
And they played excellent baseball last year, and now they're all miserable playing in a minor league park where it's 150 degrees every day. I can't control that.
Who could have seen that coming?
Just to reiterate a little bit and maybe put some context into what you said, Tyler, looking at division standings at a certain day can be a little bit misleading. We are recording this on June 21st, 2025. On June 21st, 2024, the Astros were 7 back in the American League West. So
there you go.
It goes to show you how quickly these things can change. Like, they are sitting pretty right now at 5 games up, but you literally watched last year the Mariners just completely fall apart. The Astros make up 10 games in the division and win the division, pretty much going away in September. So Yes, they're playing well right now and things look solid, but it is still so early. And you lived that last year, and I would caution that this year you should maybe take that same approach. I still, and I've told this to everyone that asked me, like, I think the Rangers are going to hit at some point. And part of it is just, I don't want to bring back of the baseball card up because I know it's going to send shivers down a lot of people's spines. But like, I mean, Corey Seager's on their team. Like Marcus Simeon, who has hit very well as of late. I believe he's got a 13-game hitting streak. He started so bad that his numbers are going to look bad for a while. But you look at the roster and you look at the guys that they have, and you just think they're going. It can't go this badly all year. Like they're going to hit at some point. And the reason I keep saying that is they are pitching as well as any team in baseball. Their starting rotation, DeGrom, Evaldi, Molly, like Jack Leiter had a no hitter going into the seventh inning against the Astros a couple of weeks ago. Like they've got the rotation to contend, and they've got the front line arms to be really scary. And they're piecing it together in the bullpen, but they're getting it done. And that's one thing, they have pitched well all season. And they don't really need the whole lineup to hit. They need Corey Seager to hit like the $300 million player he is, and Marcus Simeon to hit like the $200 million player he is. And then just get contributions, whether it's from Josh Smith, whether it's from Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, whoever they have. Like, I think they are going to hit. Now, will they hit enough to overcome a 7-game deficit? I'm not sure. The Mariners, until they prove otherwise, like I just can't. I can't, in good faith, sit here and say, "Oh yeah, the Mariners are who they should worry about." They're pitching. I think a lot of people, everyone wants to focus on their lack of offense, and that has been the story of their past 2.5 seasons. But their pitching's taken a step back this year. Not a massive, huge like red flag step back, but they are nowhere near as dominant pitching wise as they were last year, and it's why when you look at what they wasted last year, they wasted just a generational season. Like that is never going to happen again. Like they had all 5 of their starters stayed healthy the whole year, didn't miss a start hardly, and were elite. And they wasted that. And that is pretty mind boggling. Now, you do look at the Mariners, and they've got 3 guys on their team that are 3 of the best players, not only in the division, but in the American League. Cal Raleigh is having a season for the ages. Julio, though the stats don't look Julio-esque, you look up in WAR and he's like a top 5, top 6 WAR player in the American League. And then JP Crawford, just out of nowhere, has a 150 OPS plus. So they've got 3 guys that are really, really performing and really kind of the standouts of that lineup. The depth behind them, the depth around them leaves a lot to be desired. So I would hesitantly go with the Rangers as, to me, to be the biggest threat to them. But again, it's going to be really hard for them to make up 7 games, given the inconsistencies that they've shown all season.
Can we talk about Cal Raleigh for a little bit?
Good
Uh,
player. Good player.
I mean, it's not like it came out of nowhere, right? I think, the last 3 seasons, this is his 5th year in the league. He's been a very good player for the majority of his career. Starting in 2022, his first full season, he hit 27 homers, then 30, then 34. Has been worth around 3.5, 4 WAR in all of those years. He won a Gold Glove last year, so it's not like he's just like a Mike Piazza catcher, right? But this year, man, he is just otherworldly. He has 29 home runs. He has more home runs than Aaron Judge, which is remarkable considering Aaron Judge, from what I understand, based on following the MLB Twitter account, hits a home run every 45 minutes. And so I don't know how Cal Raleigh has more. But I mean, he has just been incredible this season. So, you know, cool to watch. I enjoy baseball. It's fun whenever people are good. Cal Raleigh has been very, very good this season. And again, not out of nowhere, but uh, for example, this before the season, Cal Raleigh was projected at 5.1 WAR from Fangraphs, which is I mean,
Good.
very
It's
good.
very
Like
good.
that's a really really good player. That's not like they were underselling what he could do. But again, to give you perspective, it is June 21st, and he is at 4 WAR already. So he's been incredible. I think I saw that he set the record for
Yes.
home runs before the All-Star break, and we're a month away from the All-Star break. Like he is having a season to remember.
Like I don't think he's going to flirt with the American League home run record, but like you look at the games relative to number of home runs hit, and like he has outpaced Aaron Judge thus from Aaron Judge's season a couple of years back when he broke the American League home run record. Like again, I don't think Cal Raleigh's going to do that, but
And he's
like
catching. Like
right,
it's insane.
and he's a really good defensive catcher
Yeah.
too. Like this is not a situation where he is a bat first guy that they just stick behind there and hope he doesn't get exposed. Like really, really good receiver. And some of the same traits you used to talk about with Maldonado, those pitchers in Seattle like trust him with their lives. Like they've really got a franchise player back there, and they locked him up and are paying him commensurate to being a franchise player. But Cal Raleigh has been perhaps the surprise of the division. Like I don't know who else would even qualify. Not that he came out of nowhere, like we said, but I don't think anyone would have said Cal Raleigh's going to break the major league record for home runs by a catcher before the All-Star break. Like I don't think that was on anyone's radar before the season.
While we're on the Mariners, we talked about Julio. Julio, again, I think almost is hurt by how good his rookie year was and how young he was when he came up. It's almost like a Jeremy Pena thing, right? Where you come up and you have a 6 WAR season at 21, like you are in a top 10 MVP voting season. Like he was incredible. And has had some injuries, and also just hasn't really reached that same height as before. So when you look at, like you said, just like the slash line, he's hitting 250, 315, 400. Like he's not really doing. He's a 110 OPS plus. He's not like blowing people out of the water, but he is so good at everything on the baseball field. He's an incredible defender, really good base runner. Um, I mean, he's already stolen 12 bags this year. And like we said, he's already at 3.2 WAR. Like he's still a very very good player. He's on pace to match what he did his rookie season as far as WAR goes. Um, he's a really good player. And I'm glad to see him back playing every day. Other than when he has to play against the Astros. The big story though with the Mariners this year, like you said, is the fall off from the unsustainable pitching that they had last year. Like you mentioned, their starting rotation was the same 5 guys for an entire season, and all 5 of them were really, really good. Um, they have had a lot of injuries. George Kirby was out for, the first half of the season. He's not on the injured list right now, but is kind of pitching like there's probably something going on. Logan Gilbert's been out for a good chunk of the year. Bryce Miller has been out for a lot of the year and is back on the IL now with elbow inflammation, which is never, as we know over here in Houston, never a good sign.
They
Matt
actually
Bra-
called it elbow inflammation.
that's what it's listed at on
What a
Baseball Prospectus.
that
So
would be like upper body slept wrong itis
yeah,
from
yeah.
the local 9.
Hey, we didn't talk about it on the podcast yet, but we got an injury report. We got a
Yeah,
we
it
got
was.
a full fledged write up of an injury report, which we're taking full credit for. That's
They,
that's on us.
did you notice they misspelled Christian Javier's name in said
No,
injury report?
did it
But I
have an
mean, look,
H?
yeah, they added the H.
Yeah.
We're taking baby steps here. Now, the fact that they misspelled a guy that they've locked up for the next 6 years would make you wonder like how true everything else was. But again, I'm not going to complain. In all seriousness, that was tongue in cheek. In all seriousness, if we're going to sit here and destroy them for all they did wrong in the Alvarez situation a couple of weeks ago, it's only fair that we sit here and acknowledge that
We'll take it.
this is a step in the right direction. I hope it continues, and I hope they keep this up because again, like the public is not privy to this, but they sent us that our first day in Sacramento, and like I think the injury questions like the next 4 days were limited to just like us asking Joe Espada, hey, is there anything new on these guys? And we're not like going name by name doing. It's more of like, look, here's what we got on Monday. Let us know if there's anything new in the next couple. And there was a couple things new. Joe would come out and update us, but again, it just eliminates the need for us to ask name by name. Okay, what's this guy doing? What did he do? What did he do? Okay, that we've got a baseline of what they're doing, and that's nice. And it quells the storyline. To be honest with you, it allows Joe to answer baseball questions and not just keep going down of who's throwing a live BP and who's doing what and who's gripping a bat and not gripping a bat, things like that. So kudos to the Astros for that. One thing about Julio that I don't think gets talked about enough is the lack of protection he has. It's hard to hit in that ballpark. It has been documented that hitting in Seattle is very, very difficult. There's a marine layer. There's just the ballpark itself. It is hard to hit in that ballpark. Couple that with, the last couple of years, the Mariners offense has not been good. Julio is the one guy you go into every series as the opposing team, and Julio is the one guy you circle is like, this dude ain't going to beat me. And we'll let all these 8 other guys have their shot at it. This season, it's a little different. Like Cal Raleigh's probably that guy now where I don't think he is certainly not have the upside that Julio has just as a player, just with all tools. But I mean, he's the second best player in the American League right now behind Aaron Judge. So yeah, he's going to be circled. Don't let him beat us. You got JP Crawford having an excellent season, and you've got Randy Arozarena, who probably isn't having like the greatest season in the world, but still is a competent above league average hitter that there's finally some protection for him. And I think that helps as well. It takes some pressure off of him because I think also if you read kind of what Seattle writers had written about Julio the last couple of years, and if you just look at how he approached his at bats, like it was pretty clear that he kind of felt a lot of pressure to be the guy when he knew he had to be the guy that carried the Mariners, the guy that carried the offense. It's a little bit different now because you've got Cal Raleigh doing what he's doing, JP and Arozarena, and there's different guys that can step up, and that takes some pressure off Julio a little bit.
Do you know how old Julio is?
He's what, like, I think he's Pena's age. Is he like, no, he's younger than Pena. Is he like 24?
He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, that's insane. He's 24. Jeremy Pena's 27. Julio doesn't turn 25 until December. Like, this is a young player. I mean, for all we talk about Cam Smith being just a little baby out there because he was in college last year, like Cam Smith's 22. Like, he's not significantly younger than Julio, who has been in baseball since the Clinton administration. Like, it's insane that he's still only 24. Rounding out the Mariners, we talked a little bit about their pitching. I did some. I texted my friend Jordan Schusterman of the Cespedes family barbecue.
Listen
And
to Cespedes Barbecue. Good stuff.
Absolutely, very good friends. Love them. But he basically said, like, look, they've got 2 bullpen arms. It's Munoz and Brash, and Brash was hurt, like we said at the beginning of the year, so they're still kind of working him back in. But when you look at the Mariners, the fatal flaw for them certainly is the bullpen. That they kind of have what we were concerned about with the Astros coming into the season, which is you've got 2 guys back there at the back end of your bullpen that you can rely on, and everybody else. And it's worked out for the Astros that everybody else has turned into really good relievers, and for the Mariners, that has not been the case. There's really not anybody that they trust outside of those two guys. And over the course of a season, and certainly in the postseason, that's something that can really hinder a team. So when you're looking at the rest of the season, that's definitely something to keep your eye on.
And if any team will fortify that need, it is
Yeah.
probably going to be the Mariners, the Rangers as well, because these teams are going to look a lot different in about 5 weeks than they do right now. And we will talk about some of those differences and what to expect from these teams at the deadline right after a message from our friends at Foul Territory.
If you're a card collector, even if you're not, and you just want to find a new way to collect, Arena Club is the spot. AJ just opened up a slab pack. He screen recorded on his phone so you can all see what he just experienced. Take us through it.
It was simple. I just clicked on which slab pack I wanted, clicked buy now, boom, bought it. Card little pack starts spinning. You hit open, and then it goes all psychedelic on you. It gets a little funky, and then the card appears, and I got a Robin Yount rookie card.
Yeah, you
pretty
did.
Awesome.
And then right after that experience, I saw the little buyback, and you said, "Nah, I'm gonna hold on to this for
I'm
now."
gonna hold on. This Robin Yount's in the Hall of Fame. He's not getting any more rookie cards, so I'm going to stick with it for a little bit and see if the price might start going up a little bit.
Yep, you can track that. And of course, if you do want to do the buyback, then you can instantly sell it right back to Arena Club, get yourself another slab pack, buy a card, whatever it is. This is the spot for collectors these days. And you can use the code FOUL, FOUL, to get yourself 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
So you don't have to be a genius or to follow baseball intimately to understand that Jerry Dipoto, who is the general manager or president of baseball operations or whatever they're calling him now, of the Mariners, is one of, if not the most aggressive front office executives in the sport. Probably him and AJ Preller, the Padres, tied for kind of the guy you want to be covering at the deadline because they're always going to do something. And then don't count out. He's still new at this and still hasn't been doing it in a while. But Rangers president of baseball operations, Chris Young, has certainly been known to do some very daring things. And they fired their hitting coach after 25 games this year. They traded for Max Scherzer a couple of years ago. He is not afraid to be bold. And I think where the Astros are, I think framing this from an Astros perspective, you look at the Rangers and the Mariners, and they're going to be more desperate, obviously, at the deadline because they're going to have to make up a big hole to climb out of this that they've gotten themselves into. So they've got two decision makers that have bold tendencies that can go out there and really, throw caution to the wind, get stuff done. They've also got more to sell. Like they've got better. The Mariners certainly have a better farm system, more prospects, more things that are going to entice other teams that are selling big names. The Rangers, their farm system is not as good as the Mariners, but it's certainly better than the Astros, and they certainly have more things that they can dangle out there. So, Tyler, how do you think the deadline is going to influence both of these teams? And then in turn, how do you think it's going to influence the division?
I have a question first. Do you think that Chris Young has like a fancy standing desk in his office to fit his 6'10"?
Yeah, he's
frame?
8 feet tall.
Yeah.
They probably have had to like redo some doors.
Yeah.
Like
He's
raise some ceilings a little bit because he looks like a guy that bumps his head a lot.
That's like detrimentally tall. Like there's a difference between like, oh, it's nice to be a tall person. Like I'm 6 foot, which is not tall, but it is not like noticeably in one direction. 6'10" is crazy to sit in an office all day. But yeah, you're right. Jerry Dipoto would like to make a trade every day if he could. Speaking of Jordan Schusterman, he has one of my favorite baseball things going right now, which is just the Jerry Dipoto transaction tracker. He's got a Google sheet of everything that he's done in his tenure, and it's like 4 times as much activity as any other GM in that same time frame. So yeah, they're certainly going to make some moves. And that also uh, hurts the Astros' ability to make moves when you've got two other teams in the division that are also needing to make moves, and they have better farm systems than you do. So there's going to be guys that the Astros would like to acquire over the next 6 weeks that the price is going to go up because they also have other teams in the division that are looking to make those same acquisitions, and they have more firepower than the Astros do. The Astros just do not have the same depth and the same top end talent that those other teams do, which is why it's important for the next few weeks for the Astros to build up as big of a lead as they can as they're kind of beating up on bad teams while the Mariners and Rangers are underperforming. Because you're right, they're not going to look the same in August as they do now.
No, and you look at last year, the Mariners went and got Randy Arozarena a couple of days before. That was an early deadline deal. That was about a week before the deadline. They went out and got Randy Arozarena from the Rays, and I know it didn't reflect it because they missed the playoffs. But if you look at their offense last year from the deadline on, it was night and day difference because they added Randy Arozarena in the middle of the lineup. Obviously, they fired Scott Service. They fired their hitting coach in August. But they reaped the rewards of being aggressive. You look at what the Rangers did in 23. I would not say Max Scherzer is the reason that the Rangers went and won the World Series, or even that they got in the playoffs. But like there is something to be said though about the jolt of energy and a jolt of it's kind of a reinvigoration when you get validation from the front office, when you get validation from people up above that, hey, we believe in this team, we believe in you, go try to get this done. And there is that post-trade deadline spark that all these teams do seem to get. And I think both of these teams are going to get it. Don't discount either. Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Rangers, I don't know if this is his last year, but he's on borrowed time from a baseball perspective, right? He's probably not going to be managing much longer. And I need to look up his contract. This may be his last year under contract. That figures into it too. You have maybe one of the best 5 managers of all time in the dugout. Like, you don't just punt seasons like this. When you have a legitimate chance of sneaking into a wild card, and look, with the Rangers, we just talked, like, you run out DeGrom, Eovaldi, and Tyler Mahle in a best of 3 series, like, you're going to have a pretty good chance if you get into the wild card series. All you got to do is get in. And I mean, they did that when they won the World Series in 23. They were not playing well toward the end of the year. They got in, they went and beat the Rays, and then, history happened after that. So these teams are going to get better. These teams are not going to look like they look right now. And I think that the Astros have got to it sounds dumb and it sounds, cliche, but they've got to keep winning. They've just got to keep padding their lead because there are going to be very few players available at the deadline. In general, I think fans overvalue kind of what can be done at the deadline. Like, obviously, like the Astros struck gold with Justin Verlander in 2017. That's the exception, not the norm. Like, a lot of times you look and there are players that can help teams. There are players that can certainly fill needs and fill holes, but like, there are very few players available at the deadline that are going to change the complete trajectory of a season, because by the time they get there, there'll be only 2 months left, and they can perform as great as they want, but it's really hard to overcome, 4 months of futility or average play in 2 months. So if the Astros can keep the division lead up to about what it is now, they're up 5 games going into tonight, keep it around there, then they should feel comfortable, because I think it stands to reason, Tyler, that the Astros, while they will look to upgrade this roster, and while I think they will be active at the trade deadline, they are certainly not going to be going after maybe the same names that the Rangers and the Mariners will be seeking.
Yeah, and both of those teams are in a position where the upgrades that they need to make are at those positions where there are those just kind of middling guys who are available. Like both the Rangers and Mariners need first base and DH upgrades, and those are the types of guys that you can go and get at the deadline. Just a guy who can hit, right? Like, and the Astros are tied where they certainly would like to have some more production from first base. They're not getting a first.
Right.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to get a DH because Jordan's going to be back at some point. where, you know, the Mariners just released Rowdy Tellez, who somehow was not the guy named Big Dumper on the Mariners. I That's insane to me. But you know, he's gone now. They have had, you know, very little production from the DH perspective. The Rangers too, you know, they went out and got Jock Peterson before the season. Do you have any guess as to what Jock Peterson's batting average is, Chandler?
It's got to be like he was awful to start the year. It's got to be like what, like 130, 140.
It's 131. That was their big DH signing. So again, like
And he's hurt now too. And
right.
It's not going to be Jordan level influence.
But it's
like,
anything. If
yeah,
somebody's hitting
Peterson,
200, it's better than what they've had.
Yeah, Jock Peterson did not start this year great, but he's a good player. Like he's a good hitter. He has been a good hitter for a long time. Like he's going to add something when he gets back in that lineup.
Yeah, and then they also have Josh Smith, who is I love watching him play because he's one of those like throwback Ben Zobrist type guys. He has already this season played every position except for pitcher and catcher. That's fun. I love a guy that is doing that. So they also have that positional flexibility where they've got a guy who's a good hitter. You know, he's got a 129 OPS plus, playing 7 different positions and DHing. So they can really move him around as well. So, you know, both of those teams have places where they can upgrade a little easier than the Astros can. And then on the Rangers side, we've talked a lot about the Mariners, but to give you context, like preseason, Corey Seager and Marcus Semien were obviously the top projected WAR guys on the Rangers team. Corey Seager was projected for 5.3. Semien was 4.4. Both of those guys have sub 1 WARs. They're not those players. Like I'm not going to say they're going to just, you know, come out of nowhere and hit 350 for the rest of the season, but they're not going to hit this badly together for all of the season. It's the same thing that we've said about the Astros too. Like, you know, when Altuve was struggling, it's like he's not going to do that the whole year. He's just not. Jordan's not going to hit as badly as he did for this year. There are guys that just have a certain talent threshold that over the course of a season they're going to be better than what they have been, and the Rangers again just have that firepower kind of waiting. So if they're, you know, 4 or 5 games back in July and August, they make a couple of trades and then those guys get hot, you know, you certainly could see them gaining some ground because they also, you know, like you said, their pitching has been incredible. Jacob deGrom has been healthy. I saw him, he touched 100 in his last start. Good for him. You know, Jacob deGrom is such a treat to watch. Nathan Eovaldi has been just really, really good. You know, Alvin High School legend. So they've got the talent there to make up ground. You know, so those are the teams to watch in the division. It's funny that the Angels are only a half game behind the Rangers, and that's not even an afterthought. Like that team's not doing anything. I don't believe in them.
I don't either, but I don't believe in the Angels either. But like watching them last night and seeing like they are more competent, right? Like Kenley Jansen's like one of the best closers ever. And like if they get a lead late in the game, like he's gonna shut it down. Like Yusei Kikuchi was excellent last night. Jose Soriano, who the Astros are going to face tonight, has been really, really good all year. They've got Reed Detmers, who's turned into a really quality setup man. And then you look at their lineup, like, I mean, Mike Trout's Mike Trout. Neto and Ohapi are good, like, core pieces going forward. Jorge Soler is a nice player. Like, this is not just like your run-of-the-mill, like, pushover Angels team. Like, they are not by any means contenders, but they're competent. And you've got to play well to beat them, which is not always been the case when the Astros have gone up there. You said you enjoy watching Josh Smith play. Would you like to guess where he went to college?
Oh, man, I set myself up for that one. Was it LSU Shreveport, the undefeated national champions?
No, it was LSU, the team that is going to play for the actual national championship, starting this weekend. Would you like to guess where he went to high school?
Oh no, where did he go to high
He
school?
went to Catholic high school, class of 2012.
Hey,
A year before or a year after a certain host of this podcast graduated from that same high school, and Aaron Nola. Aaron
that's
Nola
cool.
graduated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So did you like go to high school baseball games and watch these guys play? Were you a little nerd in the stands with your notebook?
I think I went and watched Aaron pitch once. I think I went and watched Aaron pitch once because he's incredible. And the Phillies are coming to town. Coincidentally, the Phillies are coming to town this week, and the Catholic is doing like a alumni like
10-year
social
reunion
thing to coincide with they wanted to coincide it with Aaron pitching. And sure enough, Aaron's now on the 60-day IL with a hip thing, so he will not be pitching. But yeah, everyone gets really excited when Aaron Nola is around. But really, really great human being. Great. I tutored him in chemistry once. He got it was. I don't know if I should. I'll say.
How was he at titration? Was he able to handle it?
I don't know, but I hope I'm not embarrassing him. He probably will never listen to this. So he asked me to tutor him in chemistry. Again, I am like the last person you want tutoring you in anything, much less science. I went to journalism school, for God's sakes. Like math and science are not my thing. So did what I could, did my best. We took the final. He texted me like 2 weeks after, and all the text said was, "I got a C." And I'm like, is that good? Is that bad? Is that what he wanted? And I'm nervous as hell. And I'm like, oh, like, all right. Like, how do you feel about that? And he was like, oh, exactly what I needed. Like, awesome. Thank you. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. Like he's going to be able to get into LSU now and go pitch LSU. Thank God. I think they'd have found a way. I think they'd have found a way to get him in, no matter if I was a good tutor or not.
You saved his career. You're owed
I
like
am
1%.
I am the
of his
reason he
career
got
earnings.
I am the reason he got that $200 million contract with the Phillies. I should get a little bit of commission.
Way to go.
I believe.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you went to high school with him. I remember, funnily enough, there's a guy a couple years ahead of me at my high school, Sterling in Baytown. But Brett Marshall was a pitcher who ended up playing for the Yankees briefly. But that's actually why I decided not to play baseball in high school. I was in like 8th grade at the time, and I went and saw Brett Marshall pitch, and I was like, oh, I'm not like nearly as I didn't have an understanding that he was like a humongous outlier relative to the other people in Baytown baseball. And I was also very short. I was 4'11" my freshman year of high school. And I was left-handed and a first baseman. So I was like, I'm never going to play. But anyway, so Brett Marshall ended my baseball career, whether he knows it or not. But that's pretty cool that you went to school with some big name guys.
Yeah, he was again, like, could not be nicer, salt of the earth human being. Like, whole family's great. Austin, his brother. I know they got a bunch of run when the Padres and the Phillies played in the NLCS a couple years ago. They played against each other, but the family's great. Aaron's a great dude. Wish him well and wish him his recovery. Wish he was pitching this upcoming series against the Astros in Houston, but unfortunately that will not be the case. What are you looking for in the last 2 games against the Angels, other than quick games and yeah?
Yeah, I have watched most of this West Coast series with a crying baby at like 11 p.m. So honestly, I would love to not watch these and be asleep. That would be ideal. That has not happened yet, so I've seen most of these games on mute, either just on my phone or up on the bedroom TV, trying to wrangle in Cam, who is a month old now, which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, look, get out of there. You need to win 1 or 2. You'd prefer to take both of them. But like we said, they just have to keep stacking series wins. While they're playing, teams that are just not as good. Excited for this homestand. They've got some good teams coming in that we'll see. But yeah, you gotta take care of business against the Angels. The main concern I would have is, Hader and Abreu are pitched out right now. They're not available. Honestly, I would really love for them to not pitch either of the next 2 games. They've both pitched a ton, so you would like to build up some big leads here, and not have to have them come in. But yeah, we'll see. We'll be watching with my ears covered with a very fussy baby. So that's what I'll be doing.
I luckily will not have that issue.
You can
I'm
come
sure
over and help. You know?
I'm good. I'm all good. I'm send pictures though. Send pictures. We'll be sure to live vicariously through the pictures. If you want to live vicariously through us, if you want to live vicariously through Tyler, you can always listen to this and you can rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and get notified every time we post a new video. You can, as always, follow Tyler on X at Tyler C. Stafford. I'm at Chandler_Rome, and we will be back at the conclusion of this Angels series to talk about what happens in the final 2 games and preview a pretty consequential 6-game homestand against the Cubs and the Phillies that should really tell us honestly how good this Astros team is, because they'll get to play, 2 teams from a superior league that have had better seasons than them. And it will be an interesting litmus test halfway through the season to see how good this Astros team is. But first, they need to take care of business against the Angels for these final 2 games. So we'll come back to you guys when those games are over. And as always, thanks for listening, and see you soon.
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Love you.